3, Section 3, the cell membrane. The cell membrane is a barrier that separates a cell from the external environment. It's made of a double layer of phospholipids and a variety of embedded molecules. Some of these molecules act as signals, others act as receptors. The membrane is selectively permeable, meaning it allows some but not all materials to cross. The cell membrane has two major functions. First, it forms a boundary between the inside and the outside of the cell, much like your skin does for your body. Second, it controls the passage of materials. Some things will move through the membrane through osmosis. Some things are small enough to diffuse through the membrane. Others have to use proteins, much like this channel protein here. The phospholipid bilayer is made up of polar or philic hydrophilic heads that face out. The nonpolar or hydrophobic tails face inward. Selectively permeable, because of the hydrophobic tails, means that it allows certain types of molecules to pass through but not others. There are other molecules embedded in the membrane. The fluid mosaic model is what we use to describe the membrane. You can see a variety of different proteins that are embedded throughout this phospholipid bilayer. It's like a fat sandwich almost. The cytosol inside the cell here, and the exoplasm, so whatever environment this cell is in. They all serve different roles. Some of them are signals, some are receptors, some allow molecules to go through, but they all have a specific purpose and their structure demonstrates that. See a zoom in. This fluid mosaic model shows that the cell itself is very flexible, and if it is broken up, the molecules will actually just realign themselves, kind of like pool toys floating on the top of a pool surface. Inside there's carbohydrates and cholesterol. The carbohydrates on the surface allow signaling to take place, and the cholesterol inside gives it some support. Here we can see some molecules moving in and out. There are ions being pushed out. There's glucose being moved in. And now we get an up-close view of this embedded protein. Cell membranes are composed of two phospholipid bilayers. It is selectively permeable, much like a screen door. It allows water and air to move through, but it does not allow bigger things like bugs or stray cats to go through. So we can see here the water crossing across that membrane. These larger molecules, whether they're salt or sugar or whatever they are, they cannot. Chemical signals are transmitted across this membrane through receptors. A receptor binds with a ligand and changes shape. So it's a little bit like an enzyme, only the changing of the shape allows for different things to move through this membrane. There's two types of receptors. The first is an intracellular receptor. The ligand will actually diffuse through the membrane. And once it's inside the cell, it will bind with the receptor and change shape. And then there's membrane receptors. These proteins are embedded in the cell membrane itself. The ligand will bind directly to it. Oftentimes you'll see the ligand bind here, which allows this side to open up.